Good morning, Bucknutters. It's Tuesday, June 2nd, 2015. I am Dan Rubin. This is the Bucknuts Morning 5. Today we are going to focus on the future, specifically the class of 2015. I have some great boarding house information coming later today that I'm going to tease and give you a little bit of in the morning here. Which freshmen are going to get on the field early and why? One of our best sources has checked in with a litany of information that we're going to have to present over the next few days. But we think this is something definitely you want to tune in for. We will then be joined by Alex Gleitman, the New Jersey native, who will talk about another New Jersey native that you may have heard of named Kareem Walker. Mr. Walker, the number one running back in the country who was committed to Ohio State, took a visit to Alabama this past weekend and saw Auburn and Alabama. What does that mean for Kareem's recruitment? Does that mean he will eventually take a detour away from Ohio State? So sit back and enjoy another edition of the BM5ish. We had the extreme pleasure of sitting down at length with one of our best inside the wax sources the other day who provided just a litany of information on freshmen and whether or not they get on the field. It's going to be really interesting to deal with the Buckeyes going forward because what we're sensing here is there is a talent stockpile such that guys are going to have to move around. I also think you're going to see some guys who you thought would be major contributors to this program be really challenged for playing time, given the fact that we have so many good freshmen coming in. One of the positions I think we need to look at is linebacker. Yes, this is a position that, as recently as a few years ago, a fullback needed to be moved to linebacker out of necessity around week 8. No longer the issue. They've got a stockpile of talented players. And while we have sat and tried to say, okay, who's going to be the Will, who's going to be the Mike, who's going to be the Sam, and who's going to back up who, I think we need to get away from that based on what we're hearing. The versatility of guys coming in, and two guys I want to point out in particular that you probably are not surprised by, Jerome Baker and Justin Hilliard. I'm not sure where they're going to line up right now. You want to tune into the boarding house today. We've got some very, very interesting information about where they could possibly line up. It's not where I expected, I can tell you that for sure. It's a credit to two things. One, the talent level of the players coming in. Two, the talent level of the players here. It just has not been the case in the past where they are stacked at positions like linebacker. There are going to be guys who were brought into this program that were very, very high profile. They're going to be challenged for playing time and are going to really need to step it up. There's nothing better than the pure meritocracy they are creating. And while there are going to be some favorites that you may see on the outs, some guys you were surprised by stepping up, there's nothing more clear than the talent level has gone up to the point where the approach has changed. I've got more details on this coming in the boarding house. That's something you're going to have to pay for, of course, here. And this is the time to do it as we have some great offers going for premium memberships. Go ahead and check those out when you get a chance. Next, but now, perhaps the most high-profile name right now in the class of 2016, running back Kareem Walker out of New Jersey, the number one running back in the country according to 24/7 Sports Composite, committed to Ohio State but took a visit this past weekend. Where did he go? What's the deal? Alex Gleitman checks in with the latest here on the Bucknuts Morning 5ish.
Alex Gleitman here, Bucknuts Morning 5. Talk a little about a story that happened over the weekend. Ohio State running back commit Kareem Walker from DePaul Catholic High School in Wayne, New Jersey, took a visit down to the state of Alabama, went to Auburn on Saturday, went to Alabama on Sunday, caused a little bit of a stir amongst Buckeye fans. After talking to some sources in New Jersey, including Walker's coaches, people close to him, I was told there's nothing to worry about if you're Ohio State. The Buckeyes were aware of the visit. They knew these were going to happen. Obviously, it's not something they like. You never want any of your committed players to visit elsewhere. But on the flip side, Ohio State knows that they host visits from committed players that are committed to other schools all the time, such as Landon Young this weekend, a Kentucky player who checked out Ohio State on Saturday and now has the Buckeyes in his top 4. So while the Buckeyes weren't pleased with it, they knew it was happening. Again, sources around Walker are telling me there's nothing to worry about. He always planned to check out other schools. He obviously committed a little bit earlier than he thought he would. He had a great relationship with Stan Drayton. That has carried over to Tony Alford, who he had a great relationship with when he was at Notre Dame. Alford talks to Kareem Walker at least once a week. Everything's good with the Buckeyes. Urban Meyer's relationship with Walker and his family is very strong as well. So while I'm being told there is no cause for concern, at the same time, I do understand those on the front row being concerned, saying Walker's not 100% committed and things like that. I mean, I think that's just all perspective and how you take things. Yes, I guess technically, if a kid's saying he's all Buckeye, don't worry about it, then why are you taking other visits? But at the same time, again, everyone around him, Walker himself, saying he's committed to Ohio State. He's just going to check out other places. So right now, I think as fans, you kind of got to take a step back, say, okay, he is committed to Ohio State. We have to expect that he's going to take visits. This could be similar to, and not even as bad as a situation such as a Torrance Gibson last year or guys like that, where they were committed to Ohio State and taking visits elsewhere. I think you have to understand just how highly touted this kid is in Kareem Walker, a 5-star kid, 24/7 Sports Composite, #1 back. Teams are going to be coming after him. It's hard while friends like Rashawn Gary, Jarek Guarantano, people of that nature are going and seeing all these schools, want him to come with for the ride like he will be going to in Tennessee in a couple weeks, and him just to stand by and let this recruiting process pass him by, something you only get to go through once. So until Walker comes out and says, I'm committed to Ohio State, but I'm thinking about other schools possibly, I think you just have to sit back, take it for what it is, and enjoy the fact that Kareem Walker is indeed committed to Ohio State.